Hey, look at this.
We got news.
Not
we
only
news.
do we have a guest coming on today, we got breaking NFL news right before the show. That never happens.
It never happens.
Those two things?
And at once?
I know.
You know, it's like that movie I showed you when we were in Colorado, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
It's happening today for us.
It's today.
Ooh.
Oh, baby. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is G-P-S. And as Brandon Perna proclaimed, we have breaking news as the Dallas Cowboys have finally gotten their wide receiver two, at least for this year before his contract expires. And the Steelers are trading away George Pickens in exchange for a third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. The Cowboys get George Pickens and a 2027 sixth-round pick. And for the Cowboys, I mean, I think this has got to be a pretty darn good deal for a receiver because their previous deals for receivers, got a fifth-round pick for Amari Cooper. That didn't age well. They gave up a fourth-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. That has not aged well. But finally, they got their guy.
Yeah, this is a great trade, I think, for the Cowboys. I think it helps CeeDee Lamb. I think it's going to be a good fit for George. I think their production just in the passing game goes up, assuming Dak is healthy and plays a full season. The Steelers are become the intriguing team and situation here because they traded for DK Metcalf, great addition to their offense. We're like, oh shit, DK and George Pickens, that's going to be fun.
Yep.
I mean, those are two big play receivers. George Pickens, probably some of the best hands, just pure hands in the NFL. Maybe there's a little after the play action with both of those guys out there. Maybe we get some, we go for the football show, but then we get a UFC fight sometimes.
That's right.
Now, they just have DK. They still maybe don't have Aaron Rodgers, but probably do have Rodgers. We're just waiting. And then I think it was Pro Football Talk was like, Alan Lazard could be heading to Pittsburgh.
God.
So what the Steelers do for him here is going to be interesting.
I'm sorry if it's Alan Lazard again. Sorry.
But, I mean, the Steelers have Roman Wilson. They drafted last year. Just injuries, didn't really get to play. And we saw some nice, was Calvin Austin? We saw nice flashes from Calvin Austin last year in Pittsburgh, right?
Gabe Davis just got released, and he did so well in Jacksonville, even though the rumor is that he's been hanging around Buffalo lately, so he might wind up resigning there. Yes, everybody should watch Andor. Andor is very, very good. Watch Andor. In terms of, the Steelers, I feel like for Steelers fans, it goes both ways, right? Because I don't know if George Pickens was going to get an insane extension, right? Because there's there's some personality. It's just intriguing personalities there. And you're like, all right, don't know if I'm going to bring him back. But then for him to get traded and for it to be a third-round pick, which doesn't help the Steelers this year, they didn't get wide receiver help in the draft, which could have really helped them prepare for this move if they were going to move on from him. It's like, okay, are we ripping off the Band-Aid and we're just going to suck now? Because I feel like if you bring Aaron Rodgers into this situation now, I feel even less confident, and I wasn't insanely confident before, like that team was going to, win multiple playoff games. And so now I feel like the Steelers are in this, hey, if they just say this is the year that we're sucking, then okay. You know what? Maybe they're going to have the first overall pick when the draft is in Pittsburgh next year. But that'd
be crazy.
I'd be more confused if they brought on Aaron Rodgers now, because then who knows what that would look like.
Yeah, I think Cowboys CeeDee Lamb
makes sense.
The cooler
Cowboys, it makes sense. It makes all the sense.
No, it makes a ton of sense for Dallas.
They have needed a wide. Like we were talking about Cowboys fans, they were so upset that they didn't get another wide receiver in the draft. Now they go get a guy who's gonna. This is gonna maybe sound offensive. Who's gonna have like the first good quarterback throwing to him, right? Of like at least of Dak's caliber. And like he has an opportunity to like be a true wide receiver too. If he breaks out, I imagine you're going to see an extension. I can see there's concern from Cowboys fans if this is just a 1-year rental. But if he goes out there and balls out, like I can't imagine that they're going to let him go.
Yeah, if you're George, like you just hope September and October go really well, because then you could probably get a new deal done mid-season. Like if things are going really well early, maybe you can get that deal done earlier than, possibly anticipating. But I saw like it was like last night on Twitter, the rumors really started to fly.
Yeah.
It was CeeDee Lamb posted a little Ralph Wiggum gif, which if CeeDee is a Simpsons fan, I'm an even bigger CeeDee Lamb fan now. And then there were like, oh yeah, there's going to be a trade between the Steelers and the Cowboys. So, the rumor sources out there were right.
Yeah. I do a little crouching action, and then I don't think I could have enough road rage to do that. Perna poops on other cars all the time.
Yeah.
But that's just
I still got the bidet. Like my whole life has changed.
It's it's a game changer. It really is. Hey, congratulations, Warlike.
Right.
Rocking. But yeah, Cowboys makes a lot of sense. I really like what this does for their offense. Steelers, questions. It's definitely, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because if they were never going to re-sign Pickens, it makes sense to get value for him now. But it's just, okay, what is this offense going to look like? Is it going to be really bad? That's the
Steelers just got a lot of things got to actually happen.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. We'll see.
Naked Gun reboot. I love the Naked Guns.
Dude, I'm telling you, Pickens and CeeDee Lamb could be really fun for that offense. They built in the trenches, like they went and got Ezeraku in the pass rush. Yeah. This makes me like the Dallas Cowboys draft even more, and I already liked the Cowboys draft.
They're already screwed. They're already screwed because Scooter already tweeted they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't wait more than 2 minutes. And the fact that he said that, CeeDee and George Pickens could each have 2,000 receiving yards, and it's not going to work just because Scooter cursed them. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we do have a guest.
You have a great haircut, Brandon. It looks great.
Oh, you guys, I got it mid-episode, Tom.
I know, I saw that. You know how I saw that?
How?
Because people told me that you cursed the Packers again.
I didn't. The wheel did.
Is it balanced?
It's as balanced as it's ever been.
That doesn't make me feel any more confident. Yeah. That means nothing to me.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
All right. Let's see. Where's our...
Now we know who gets number 14. You're not wrong.
Where's our old one? Wrong. There we go.
Oh, look at this. We're fancy. Ladies and gentlemen.
We have huge guest today joining the show.
Huge.
Cameron Dicker.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Oh, hell yeah.
On?
What's going on, Cameron? Thanks for joining.
Of course. How are you guys?
Fantastic. I like the background. I saw you setting up in the background. I really appreciate the attention to detail. You're just like, all right, we got to get the Chargers in the background.
You all know what's great is they took the table out of this room. This is like the interview room, and I walked in here, and there's no table. So I had to like prop it up on some chairs. I figured it out, though.
You did it. We're rocking. You look great.
We made it work. We're
making it work. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. How are you guys?
We're getting ready for the long off season. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, it's been good. So far, my good off season has happened. Now we're back into the grind of things, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. What do you do? What did you do this off season? And what do you do? Do you have to stay in kicking shape? Do you go out and kick, or do you just kind of take a couple months off and then like I know the leg's gonna fire away?
I go about a month and a half off of just like, I probably go 3 weeks not even thinking about working out, doing anything. Don't know if that's the right way to do it. That's just the way I do it. It works. And then I start kicking like a month and a half into it, but I go travel. I love traveling. I grew up in Asia and my mom's a travel advisor. So it's like, it's in my blood to just get out there and go run around. So went to Europe this year, did 12 days, 4 countries, 7 soccer games.
Oh, let's go.
You sound just like Tom. I'm gonna do a trip and I'm gonna pack as much shit into it as
5
possible.
countries, 10 days. We're going nonstop.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah, it was awesome. It was like 2 to 6 hours of sleep a night, hopping on just like little planes everywhere, just hopping around places and just having a blast.
That sounds like a pretty damn good off season. So like, what does this look like for you now, right? Because like we're going to start getting training camp's a way away, right? You know, we got some workouts going on. What do these next couple months look before, August and the preseason really starts to kick off?
Yeah, we got workouts going 4 days a week. So workouts 4 days a week, then going from I kick like twice a week right now during that, and then a little bit on the weekend. But workouts 4 days a week, golfing on the weekends, enjoying my time. And then I'm doing a fun thing and hosting a game show right now, NFL Offsides, every Tuesday, which has been super weird and so fun.
Nice.
Well, have you ever hosted a show before?
Never in my life, and that's what makes it weird. It's been
That
like,
makes it. How's that feel though? Is there like some nerves there, or is it like, all right, we're trying out new things?
First episode was definitely like, okay, how am I doing this? And then stuff started like feel natural pretty much right away. I was like, okay, I can relax into this and start having some fun. But right away, I was like, man, I got to be careful. I got to be. And then I was like, what am I doing? Let's go have fun out there.
Yeah,
and
then, that streams on the NFL.
Since then.
Sorry, that streams on the NFL YouTube channel.
Yeah, NFL YouTube channel. So every Tuesday, I think it's 5 o'clock Central Time, and then it's been super fun. Been having 2 streaming guests, and they'll both stream on their Twitch accounts. And then we'll have 2 NFL players. And so we've just been having a blast, kind of like an old school game show with a new fun vibe to it.
Can you let's practice, like, you're new to hosting. Pretend I just lost the show and tell me I've been booted from the show. I didn't do a good job.
Survivor.
And thanks for trying, but you are terrible at this game, Brandon.
Listen, Brandon, sorry we have to do this to you, but you've had a rough day today. You've had a rough week, and everybody's voted. The fun thing about our show, everybody has the chance to vote in the chats. Everybody's voted, and looks like you're going to be going back to your family. Really good news for you. Really great news for all of us. We don't have to deal with you anymore, so thanks so much.
I thought I was playing so well.
Yep,
this is the worst moment of my life, Cameron.
There you go. That's when I smile, pat you on the back, and just hand you to somebody to usher you away. Yep.
That was pretty. I think he handled that pretty well.
That was pretty good.
It's like
I thought I had that show in the bag too. That was a disappointment.
I know.
Real quick, just because this is a very viable question. So Brandon Perna is a diehard Denver Broncos fan. It's just his reaction to your free kick was. We were streaming that game, and it was
we watched that live together.
Yes, we did.
I have never seen that happen. Tom, we were confused.
Yeah.
Down on the field, what was going on? Like, were you surprised by having to go out and kick? And then when you got onto the field, were you like, what the hell? I just get a free kick here? And then once you realized it was a free kick, was there more pressure because there wasn't, special teams unit trying to block it?
So funny enough, every Friday, it was every other week on Fridays, we'd go through like different scenarios that could happen, right? So every other week since my rookie year here, so our special teams coach Ryan Ficken and our assistant Chris Gold, he was like, they go through it every week, kind of the stuff that happens. Free kick, fair catch is one of those ones. So the last one that we had seen that had happened in the NFL that was missed was Joey Sly in London, 60-yard field goal, missed it right. And so I, at that moment, typically, I don't know why, but we never get the ball at the end of the half. I feel like we're never in field goal range at the end of halves, where I'm like, damn, this is like the fun field goals, because it's like, hey, if it's the long ones, let's go try to make it. Something happens. The end of the half, we move on. So I was like, this is sweet. We're about to get the ball back. They're punting from decently back. We need a little bit of some mistakes to happen for me to be able to do this. But I told our punter on the bench, I go, dude, we might have a free kick fair catch here. And he's like, I don't know. Like, Riley's a really good punter. I don't think this is gonna happen. And I was like, I know, I don't either, but be ready. This could happen. So I like get up and I run over to the net and start kind of hitting a little bit in case it happens. And then it all worked out.
So your spidey senses were going off. You're like,
Oh, I was tingling. I was tingling. Oh yeah,
Let's
I was
go.
going.
yeah, that's the longest fair catch kick ever made too.
Yeah, so that was super cool.
That was not cool for me as a Broncos fan.
It was
Cameron,
awesome
but
for me. I mean, it
yeah.
got us going. We were ready to go after that, and so
Did you get to keep the ball?
brought it through. I think it's in the Hall of Fame right now.
Oh,
I think it's
wow.
like
That's such a
loaned
flex,
there.
Cameron. That's such a just like, oh yeah, I don't have it right now. It's just in the Hall of Fame, just
Yeah, I think it's in the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
It could be anywhere here. I have to ask because you mentioned growing up in Asia. So you grew up in Hong Kong, that's pretty odd. You were born in Hong Kong, yeah?
I was born in Hong Kong, grew up in Shanghai mainly.
Grew up in Shanghai, excuse me. So
Okay.
how do you get it? Because big soccer fan, obviously not just from your escapades that you were just talking about, but just growing up a soccer fan. At what point? Because I have to imagine, growing up playing some soccer, loving soccer. Where does that transition from like football to like American football happen for you?
Yeah.
Of like, hey, this is the sport that I'm going to start to pursue, rather than maybe the other one that you use your feet for.
So I played soccer all through high school, right? So I kept playing soccer throughout the whole thing. I quit playing club soccer after my sophomore year, like kind of the beginning of my junior year, because I'd always have like a random sprained ankle in the middle of football season. And I was like, damn, this isn't fun. I'd be wearing like ankle guards, like wearing everything I could, taping my ankles. And I was like, this doesn't feel good. So I stopped doing club soccer, but just played high school. But then football, I played 1 year in China in 5th grade. I
Wow.
was a O lineman, and I hated it. This was like the worst sport I've ever played.
But it's so much fun getting hit constantly, nonstop, over and over again.
So
What do you mean?
fun, yeah, so fun. Just bash heads. And then we went from there, moved to the U.S. I didn't play football 6th grade. Then 7th grade again, an O lineman, and I was like, I'm quitting this sport. This is the worst thing I've done. And I started kicking halfway through that year because I was like, listen, I'm tired of this. I was like our starting 18 left guard, and I was like, I'm killing it, but I am so like bored and just not having any fun.
Yeah.
It was super boring for me as an O-lineman. Yeah, exactly. Just here and then you're done. So then I told the coaches, hey, I want to just kick. And they were like, well, no, we kind of need you to play left guard. And I was like, no, I'm just kicking or I'm done playing football. And so I then just started kicking. So I played soccer and kicked. And then by end of sophomore year, I got a call from the University of Texas saying that they were going to offer me if the coaches stayed. And I was with Charlie Strong. Ended up getting fired. So I didn't get a call back. Then like another year later is when the new staff was recruiting me, and then they offered me. And I don't know about if you guys know about the kicker scholarship situation. Might be different now with NIL, but they pretty much scholarship a kicker every 4 years, maybe every 3 years if the team likes to bring a guy in to redshirt.
Got it.
But so it just kind of worked out that Texas was there for me. It was kind of God just being like, yeah, here you go. Because the schools I was looking at, which was West Coast schools, were all had kickers that were at least in year 2. So I was like, those aren't where I want to go.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine, like there's probably not much movement, right? Like if they find a kicker, they're like, this is our kicker, like for the next X amount of years. So it's got to be pretty difficult to get in there.
Exactly. And like when you're on scholarship, you kind of get the push ahead of some dudes right away. But I went in and competed with another guy on scholarship and ended up winning the job. And then
you had to kick him off the show and just be like, you have to go back to your family now.
Yeah,
just like you did to Brandon. Got it.
Yeah,
Like I can play left guard too. So
I can do it all. That's what I was telling him. That's what I said on the phone.
Move
I was
over,
like,
Travis
"Listen, get
Hunter."
here."
yeah. Has
Always
Harbaugh does Harbaugh know you played left guard? Because I feel like you should not let him find out because he's gonna be like, we could try that.
Yeah, I don't think I should tell him.
No.
I think this is something I keep in a media place and
Yeah.
hope nobody ever brings it to his attention.
Yeah.
He's
So
going
if
to
you
have
guys
you
get
go
him
out.
on ever, don't talk about this, please.
No.
Or
He'll
if
have
you
you run
do, throw in like a really cool trick play because I'd love to be a part of that.
Oh, that would
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. I mean, again,
left guard pulls and then kicks a field goal.
I don't know
Holy
how it
crap.
would work, but we could make this happen. First time ever.
Yes.
Also, Cameron, I'd be remiss, but happy freaking fracking birthday! Yesterday was the birthday.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Well, let's
Thank
go.
you.
Did we do anything special? Did we just
Went and played some golf. Got some teammates out there and went and played golf at Trump National and had a good time.
there you go.
Nice.
All right, play some golf, relaxing. I like
Oh
it.
yeah. So
When-
can't complain when you just go out there golf and then made a nice steak at home.
Ooh,
I figured out my I bought 2 steaks, a dry aged steak and this like $30 Wagyu steak, and I was like, which one's better? The dry aged blew it out of the water, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, you got
Kinda
spin for the
crazy.
dry aged.
Kipper.
When you were at, this is really the one question that was very important to me. When you were at Texas, did you ever hang out with McConaughey?
Before games and sidelines, yes.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Is he as cool as he seems?
Yeah, very mellow dude, very chilled out guy. But yeah, he's funny. When I go back and I'm at like spring games and stuff, I've talked to him. Now they don't do spring games. I don't know what's going on in college football. This is weird. But I would talk to him every once in a while, and so very funny guy, keeps up with dudes in the NFL, which is fun. And yeah, just a dude who loves Texas.
Yeah, he's all in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about Jahdae Barron, who the Broncos just drafted from Texas?
He's a beast.
Is
He's a
he?
beast. I love that guy. You guys got
Yeah.
a bunch of Texas Longhorns. I'm the
Yeah.
solo guy here.
I know.
Kind of crazy. Every time I go, we play Denver. I'm always like, man, it's
I know
like
all of you.
I'm seeing all my teammates again. But Jahdae is awesome. He actually has been trying to get me to get a leg sleeve since his freshman year in college.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so every time he sees me, he's like, so when are we getting that tattoo? And I was like, never. And he's like, you know I'm paying for it. So if I ever do get a tattoo, you're going to know Jahdae paid for it.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually, Ben, that's a great question because I wanted to ask you, Cameron, like in terms of the mindset of kicking, right? Because I've known a few NFL kickers and I've talked to them, and it's always fun like during like practices because you see a lot of other players complain about it, like, oh, they just go out there and kick and stuff like that. And just like, oh yeah, they get to relax or run, whatever. In terms of the pressure, like that just internal, like, oh man, like I have to make like a long kick or, it's a game-winning kick, what have you. At what point did you kind of at least get used to it? To, hey, like I can do this under pressure, because that's a huge element of kicking, right? And unless you're actually in game doing it, it's kind of difficult to replicate that.
Yeah, I think the great thing for me is that it's kind of come naturally in life.
Hell yeah.
Something that I've been able to handle pretty well throughout since like probably 8th grade, I'd say. I don't really feel nervous in those moments. It's something I train to do and that I want. So it's like every kicker's dream to go out there. Some guys have the ability to focus through it. Some guys don't. So it's like what I want to be. I want everybody to be watching me kick and trying to make a game-winning field goal. But as I've gotten older and had a relationship grow with God, it's been more of like, okay, this is kind of like a huge gift from God for me.
Hell yeah.
Like, hey, the only things that matter are how he loves me and how my family loves me and how like people in my inner circle. So I've done like stuff with I like working with youth and helping them through struggles, whatever it may be. And so one of the things that I did in college with a mentor at UT, Kevin Washington, and a couple other guys was like you draw a big circle and a little circle inside of it. And in the little circle, we wrote like 3 to 7 names. And those are like the people that actually matter in your life. I would say everybody matters, but the people who you actually care about their opinion.
Inner circle.
And that like when something's going on, those are the people that are like ride or die for you. And so those are the people that I need to make sure when I'm doing something they are good with. Other than that, everybody on the outer edge, I'm like, love you guys, but at the end of the day, as long as they're happy, I don't need to please you. So
it's like a perspective element, right? Because you're just like, here's like what matters in my life, and here's what, obviously you want to do well professionally and, keep that going 100%, but you're just kind of being able to be grounded, in your foundation and saying, okay, we're just going to do what we got to do.
How do you
100%.
handle pressure? And you just give us like really solid life advice. That was impressive.
That is a great question. When Harbaugh came in, have there been quips that you're just like, oh yeah, this is a good one? Like
Besides, the worm has turned. We know about the worm has turned.
He remembers being born. That was an awesome team meeting. That one was like, I can't believe this is true. But I still have questions. I question it when I see him. If I'm like, dude, I'm still thinking about this. I don't think this is true. But he stands on it. Almost everything he says is like just awesome. You're sitting there kind of just like, okay, should I laugh? Should I not laugh? Is he trying to make a joke, or is this like super serious? So I'm typically the guy to just laugh, even when it's weird. So sometimes I'm the only one laughing in the room, but we have a really good relationship. So I feel like he's like sometimes trying to make jokes.
I feel like I could just listen to him talk for hours.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it is all. And then he just gets going, and once he's going, you're like, please don't stop. Like I don't want this to end. Like everybody's loving this.
Has Herbert ever complained that he pats him too hard before the game to get him going?
No, Justin's all about it. That dude's a competitor. Jim's a competitor, so they feed off each other for sure.
How hot were you in this very specific moment that they caught on camera?
His pregame. Little wake-up call from the Gatorade bottle. You don't see many kickers do that.
Probably one of my favorite moments.
That's after every kick.
Every kick?
People who are there in person know that are behind the bench area. Every single kick, make or miss, whether it's just before halftime, whatever it is, that's like kind of a physical reset for me that I've done.
Nice.
So it's like it kind of clears my mind again. So it gives me something to just be like, all right, new kick, we're done with that and move on. Okay. So if I have a field goal, I'll go hit a kickoff, come back to the sideline, and that's the first thing I do. And then I go sit down. So yeah, it's kind of.
Have you ever grabbed a Gatorade bottle that had Gatorade in it and then did that accidentally?
There was definitely one that had a little bit of the Gatorade still. Like I could taste the sweetness, and I was like, I went over and I was like, guys, come on, can I dump this bottle out? Can we put this somewhere else? Then I resprayed because I was like, this is gonna be gross in my hair and sticky on my face. I was like, ugh, not what I want right now. But yeah, it's the bummer ones are when it's cold games.
Yeah,
and I'm like, not all these bottles have ice, right? Please, because I don't want to put ice water on me at cold games. I'm like, a little warm water's fine. I can deal with it, but yeah, those are sometimes tough.
I want to ask because your NFL journey, kind of starting in LA, the Rams like getting, picked up there, and then later that year ending up in LA again, just with the Chargers. What was that kind of like first year like? Because you bounced around, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Eagles and Ravens, right? I think there's the bird teams. You bounced around there and then ended up in LA. What was that process like? From going undrafted to being picked up by the Rams. It didn't work out with the Rams, and then ultimately ending up, with the Chargers. Did that kind of deter you at any point, just being bounced around from multiple teams? Was there kind of like, oh, I don't know, or landing in LA with the Chargers, did that just reinforce it? Like, hell yeah, like I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this. You obviously have the game winner against the Falcons. Like, did that just kind of boost your confidence to an all-time high, like going through that entire journey?
Yes and no. I ride pretty mellow throughout my life. I'm like, you never want to ride the highs too high or the lows too low. So kind of just like staying in here.
Yeah.
But definitely was cool having those experiences. Going undrafted kind of sucked. I thought I did really well in the draft process. That was like a real bummer for me. I was perfect at the combine, did really well at my private workouts. And I was like, well, damn, this is kind of weird. Then going to the Rams, they brought me in mainly as a punter, which I was like, you know what? Let's just get in the door. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then after doing that, they cut me after the first preseason game, which was a shock to me, was a shock to a couple other people. So that was a very interesting move because I knew they were going to be getting rid of their specialists because they just couldn't pay them after the season. They all deserved to get paid more, and it wasn't going to work. So I was lucky enough to then have some more opportunities. I know not a lot of guys do, and so it's just kind of taking advantage when God opens the door for me. So the door was opened over at the Ravens. I flew in on a Friday, had a workout at like 2 or 3 o'clock, played on a Saturday night, flew home Sunday morning, got paid 250 big ones. $250. I was like, whoa, we made it.
Come on now.
I'm pro, baby. So that was kind of like a funny welcome to the NFL moment. I still have that check at home.
I was just about to ask if you still have that check.
Yeah, I didn't even cash the check at first. I was like, gosh, it would have meant more like getting like a handwritten note or something. Would have been like
An IOU.
Yeah, pretty much like a
Captain
cooler
envelope.
thing. The $250 and then having some taxes from that. I was like, this is crazy. And then I went with no team for 4 weeks, the first 4 weeks of the regular season. So I was hanging out at home, going to a bunch of the Texas practices, helping their like kickers, punters. I was training and just kind of like trusting that something was going to happen. I never didn't think anything was going to happen. I just like didn't really know what was going on in life at the time. And then all of a sudden the Eagles had called. I showed up there, had a workout, did well, and they signed me, and I played that week, had a game-winning field goal, got the special teams player of the week.
Hell yeah.
And then they kept me on practice squad for 2 weeks and then cut me. 2 days later, I was going to a Carrie Underwood concert, and I got a call from my agent, and he's like, dude, you need to how soon can you be at the airport? And I was like, like an hour. I still had a bag kind of packed. And yeah, so if you don't know, you just live out of a suitcase that whole time.
Yeah.
So I just had like a suitcase pretty much packed, ready to go for whenever.
Go bag.
And so I just called my mom and I was like, hey, I'm gonna be home in 20 minutes. I need you to drive me to the airport. She drove me to the airport. My girlfriend went to the concert with one of her friends now instead. And then I was in LA and it was awesome.
So Carrie Underwood owes you a concert, is what you're saying.
She actually came out and said that. Did you see that? Did you see that clip?
Oh no.
She was awesome. That was so after I told that story, because then the Chargers, my first game with the Chargers, I had a game-winning field goal as well. And then I think we played Monday Night Football against the 49ers that next day. And walking into the stadium, they had like the promos going and everything. And our long snapper shows me, it's like we're there a little bit earlier than the rest of the team. He pulls out his phone and it's Twitter, and it's Carrie Underwood's like intro to the Monday Night Football. And she's like, hey, Cameron, I just wanted to invite you to come to any of our things, like get in touch with my people. And I was like, what is happening? So we were cracking up about that before the game. I never made it out, sadly. Maybe one of these days, maybe I can go to an American Idol or something now.
Asking about mental toughness, but you were kind of just saying like that's just kind of how you've always been, right? Of just like going out there and just I'm just gonna go out and do this. But you said that you want to be in that position to kick that game winner. I feel like there's such a unique aspect to that because like sometimes there's gonna be a ton of pressure, right? And the nerves are gonna set in of like, oh man, like everybody's looking at me. But to also be in those positions and to come out on top, there's got to be like no feeling like that. Right, like you hit a game winner, like that's just like because you're celebrating with your team, like it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I also am not a big celebrating guy. I don't know what it is. I want to do better because it's kind of fun too.
It's kind of fun to be happy.
It's kind of fun too, but at the same time, like when I'm doing it, I don't know how cool it is what I've done until like the next day or like later that night. In the moment, I'm still just like trying to not feel anything. So it's like, I don't know, it's very weird because it's a very cool feeling, but at the same time, you're just like, all right, do we have another kick? And I'm just like ready to go again. But I don't know, maybe if I have like a huge kick, you'll see some celebrations, but usually it's just a high five and I walk off the field.
That's pretty badass too. Like, don't look at explosions, you know.
I kind of like it too, though. Like after the free kick, fair catch, I just high fived our holder and just walked off the field as the time was out and just walked into the locker room. And I was like, that was dope.
I mean, you need to start turning around before the kick goes through the uprights. I don't think I've seen kickers do that. Just turn around and salute the crowd. It'll be cool even if you miss, but.
Well, if you miss, it's going to be a completely other thing. Everybody's like, gosh, this guy didn't even want to see his kick. He knew it was bad right away.
Oh,
I mean, because you were talking about, right, like you don't want to go on like those roller coasters of emotions, right? Because if you're amping yourself up, that's when the nerves can kick in. That's when a mistake can be made. So I like that it's just like, hey, it's even keel throughout. And I like that kind of the next day, you're like, okay, now I can kind of absorb it. The moment's over of, hell yeah, that was awesome. Because like I think there's a line, right, between like celebrating, but then also being able to kind of like actually feel those accomplishments, right? Because you want to make sure that you're going through and actually, hey, like I'm proud of myself. Like that's pretty damn good. I just made a game-winning kick as an NFL player.
100%. That's been like the fun battle that I've had to deal with myself of like, this is pretty cool what you're doing. Like, let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
I did not like even college. If that was where my career ended, that was like an insane experience as well. I mean, you're kicking in front of 100,000 people at home games. I did not enjoy it until my end of junior year and senior year. I did not even look around the stadium one time. I have like no memories from my first 2 years playing games because I was just like blacked out. Like, I did not like I removed any emotions, anything from the game. But that's something that is really cool now. The same guy, Kevin Washington, we had talked about it a little bit, and he was like, take a moment before these games and just like stand there in the stadium and look around. Like, take a moment, bring it in. It doesn't need to be when you're kicking, obviously, like, but at other times throughout it, whenever you can find it, find times to like enjoy where you are, look around, and like really just let the moment kind of come into your heart and see it. And so it's been really cool to do that. And I find myself praying a lot of times in those moments, just kind of like at TV timeouts, whatever it is, where I'm in a corner. All the home fans see me. I always do this stretch where I'm like this and that, and the people in the stands are always doing it back at me, and it's pretty funny. So, that's usually a time where I'm looking around, just like, oh, this is kind of sick. Like, there's 80,000 people here, and like I get to go kick a ball and just have fun.
And like there'll be a point in your career, right? Like when the NFL, like in 20 years, like when the NFL is like in the rearview mirror, and to be able to just like take account of like, damn, like I did that, like that, because you're one of the very few who get to play football at like a professional level, right?
Yeah.
And that goes. So you recently last year you got an extension, so it was like $22 million contract. What was that moment like? Because I feel like that is also just validation, like a reformation of like, damn, like all this hard work that I've put into this, like now this is creating generational wealth for myself and my family, like to have that all come together. That's got to be a pretty special moment.
No, that was awesome. It was definitely a big moment so far in my career. Big moment just overall for my family. Had my mom and dad out here with me, and so we went out to dinner that night, and it was I think it was that week 0 in between the end of the preseason and week 1.
Yeah.
So like nobody's in the building. So I was like, hey, when would we actually sign this contract? When they were like, okay, here's a finalized, we good? And I was like, yes, we're good. And I was like, okay, when are we going to sign this contract? So my mom and dad flew up, and I was like, should they come tomorrow? Are we doing this tomorrow, or are we waiting until next week? And they flew up, and it was like 4 people in the whole building, and it was so funny. I was like, I did not expect it to be like this. I didn't really know what was going to be going on. But it was
like there's gonna be people in the hallways like clapping as you walk down.
Yeah, it's like I have no clue what to expect. They had like our entryway is a huge like video board, and they had my face up there as like the whole thing, and I was like, geez Louise, a 3-story version of me. So that was pretty funny to look at, and it was just it was one of those moments that feels surreal where you're like, this really happened, and still doesn't feel real. I mean, it's kind of weird to know and see. So now it's just about me going out there and continuing to do what I do, not letting pressure kind of add to me. And I think I do a good job, and trying to make the most that I can out of anything I'm doing.
Chargers been searching for a kicker for a while, so that works out nicely. And before this show, Tom and I we're really professional, and I was like, oh shit, I better do some research on Cameron. And so I'm just searching around the internet, and I found this picture of you, and I was like, first of all, that's a great that's a great look.
Dope jacket.
And then I like zoomed into the jacket and I was like, oh, that's the Walter Payton Man of the Year, logo.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize until this morning you were nominated last year by the Chargers. What kind of community work were you doing? That got you that nomination, and how'd that kind of come about?
Yeah, so last year, it was a huge honor. I was the man of the year for the Chargers and the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and it was really cool because I was not expecting it at all. Like I said earlier, love to like help youth, and that's kind of where my passion is. And I think God's given me the ability to do really well coaching and just kind of patience with kids. And it's where I serve in church, where I kind of like anything in my free time, anything the Chargers send me, I'm like, yeah, just send me anything with kids. I'm like, I'll never say no. So that was a big one. First is just like being available is always helpful. I think as an athlete, you're gifted with money, obviously, but I think our biggest gift is time for anybody.
Sure.
Being able to go spend time with people and serve communities. Because a lot of people either don't think they're loved or don't realize that they are because nobody wants to spend time with them and nobody puts forward the effort of being like, hey, you live 5 minutes away from me. I've never met you, but like, how can I help you?
That's awesome.
And so for a lot of people, it's like for me before having money, it was okay, let's go be hands-on with people and just talk. Like if you can just have conversations with somebody that can make their day, it can change kind of their outlook on life, and you never know. So that was the big thing for me. I started working with a special needs organization, the Friendship Foundation out here, and did a couple events with them throughout the year, just going to their walks they do. So I think it's Monday mornings at like 10 or 11 a.m., they bring the group of, I think it's their 18 plus group. So California state funding stops funding special needs help after 18. And so they're an organization that still allows kids to come. They have private funding and they help them with kind of like how to live in the normal human realm, right? So how can they go about day-to-day life through their disability without that impacting anything? And so one of the ways that they do it is these walks where they just interact with people. One of the others is going to dinners together, which is really cool. So they like force them to sit down at a dinner table for like hour and a half, whatever it may be, your normal dinner time, order your own food, do all that. And so that was like, it's like, dude, this is such a cool organization. You guys really just help people like find how to live day-to-day lives and enjoy it, but also again, knowing that they're loved and knowing like, hey, your life matters. And so throughout that process, found some really cool friends there, and then they were the ones who came and helped announce that I was the man of the year for the Chargers. Which was
that's amazing.
So we got some pictures after that, and that was like, damn, I wanted to cry that whole time when they were out there. I was like, this is so cool. But it was one of those things where it's like God put that stuff on my heart, and as long as I can be a good steward and follow out with some of His plans, then stuff will take care of itself.
That's gonna be such a cool culmination. I mean, so last year you're saying it was a pretty damn good year, right? I mean, like it's just like the contract, the Walter Payton. I mean, like that just seems, being a few years in the league, like that's a pretty special thing.
Yeah, I'd say the Walter Payton was definitely bigger than the contract for me. I think the contract was awesome, but I was like, the Walter Payton was one of those where I was like, damn, this is like gonna be one of those things I'll remember forever. And just that's like the biggest for me. It's the biggest honor in football. I think a lot of people view it that way, and so it's just really cool to have that from the Chargers and to be able to go represent there.
I would have been more excited about the contract personally. So.
Still trying to get that.
I'm in a distant third on this show right now. Like the work you've been doing, Tom raising $1 million for charity this last year. I haven't done shit. I got to step up my game.
We'll get there.
I'm slacking. Listen, you guys are doing so much good. I feel like
gotta put out good into the world. That's it.
It's just little things. All you gotta do is little things. You go find little pockets to help.
Yeah.
You can always go help Boys and Girls Club.
I can be better.
Always go help at a weekly thing for an hour and just go try to. If you change one person's life, that's one person's life for the better. So
That's true.
Just doing that is huge. And yeah, I was at a dinner recently with the Sandy Hook Promise. So two parents whose kids were shot at Sandy Hook, and it was about gun violence. And one of the things that I have a hard time with in those conversations is like politics get involved, right?
Sure.
And so one of the hard things, people are very divisive with politics. I don't think it's how it should be. It's the way it is. And so I have a hard time working with organizations that are like that, where it's just like immediate like hatred towards one another. And I was like, whoa, what's happening?
Sure.
But what's really cool about them is they're very open to like, hey, there's people in life that feel like they need to have guns as protection. This is a very normal thing in our society. This is not something where it's like nobody in the world should have a gun anymore. And it's also, they know it's pretty much impossible to take away all the guns at this point. But one of the cool things they talked about was how can you prevent that stuff from happening? And it's from a simple hello at school, right? So you go up to another kid and you're like, hey, how are you, that you've never talked to? Because that kid could be like, nobody ever talks to me, nobody likes me, blah, blah. But a simple, hey, how are you? Hello, like could be a big life-changing difference.
Sure.
So a big encouragement would just be like, yeah, just go say hello and talk to random people. Go help serve.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's building community, right? Like that's the
Mhm.
whole idea of just
Yeah.
like being together and building community. Yeah. And just
Oh,
being
yeah.
there for one another. Hey, a little Red River rivalry. There you go. There you go. We're doing that. I wanted to ask Karen real quick before we let you skedaddle out of here. Someone was asking before about like best and worst stadiums to kick in, and kind of following along with that, if you want to answer that. But what have you kind of learned that is very unique to the NFL that differs like so much from the college experience in terms of even just like your day-to-day play or how you prep? What has kind of changed and how have you evolved like as a player going into the pros?
Yeah, for me, it's more enjoyable. Not having school, having kind of free time, and also the ability to step away from the game has been really cool. It's nice to be able to go home. It's also weird because you're around guys with families instead of everybody being younger than 21, pretty much 18 to 21.
Fair.
So now you're like with like our long snapper, 35 years old, one of my best friends on the team. And I'm like, damn, this could not be a more different life that we're living right now. And he has 4 kids. Our punter just had his 4th kid. Shout out JK. And
Philip Rivers taught them well. Philip
yeah,
Rivers
so
taught them well.
they're both at 4, and I'm sitting at 0. Enjoying some life before kids. And but they're like my big brothers. They're like my best friends on the team. And so it's really cool to have those relationships that you didn't have in college. So I'd say the relationships are probably the coolest thing. Stadiums, to be honest, college, loved some stadiums more. The Red River, so sick, playing at the Cotton Bowl where it's split 50-50. I've never played in anything like that because you're on one side warming up and people are just berating you. The other side, people are like, you got this, we love you, blah, blah. And it's just so funny. That's like one of the coolest places, and it's so cool to kick a field goal into like the OU section and just shut them up. That's like one of my favorite moments. And the same with, we played Lambeau, which is like historically cool.
Does J.K. Scott still talk about Lambeau?
He talks about being there in Green Bay, not as much about Lambeau. I don't think I don't think people. He didn't not like the cold. He said it was actually not that bad, but he said the people there were awesome. He said it was an awesome community. He has nothing but good things to say, which I was like, that's hard to see. I mean, that seems like a tough place. But yeah, when we were there, I was like, man, this place is like 10 years behind the rest of the U.S. right now.
Dude, it's such an awesome city. Like people were coming like obviously the draft was just there. And like, it's just like a small city. Like it's so dope. It's just super down to earth. And it's just like,
crazy.
we're rocking. We still got bleachers in Lambeau.
All of a sudden it's just houses that are like 2 stories tall max and then a huge stadium out of nowhere. And you're like, cool. So that was so funny to see. And it seems like an awesome people. Everything he said is the people seem great. So I was like, seems like a cool place to be. So That was fun to hear about, but SoFi is also like the cool stadium in the NFL. I'll stand
Dude, it's
on
pretty
that.
nuts.
That's like,
Have you gotten
it's
lost
cool.
there before? Because, dude, like I've been there one time, and that's like there's a museum like in that stadium. Like it's enormous.
I have never been there not playing, so
There,
I feel like it's easier for me to not get lost. I'm like ushered everywhere I go.
locker room, field.
Yeah, people are like telling me that I can't go in places. I'm like, come on, let's go check this place out. But my family's like, it's so hard to like find places to go. Like when they're trying to go to the pro shop, whatever it is, they're like, it's like a 30-minute walk, and they don't even know where they're ending up.
Yep.
I just walked 6 miles. I
Yeah,
just
they're
want a
like up and
jersey.
down escalators, and they're like, I don't know how we're here, but we're here. So here we go. So it's definitely, I'm excited to see it one day from that side.
Hell yeah. Perna, you good?
Yeah, oh, wait. I have one request, Cameron. My buddy John Nah, huge Chargers fan. First truly passionate Chargers fan. He's a big reason like I'm doing this today. So if you could look directly at the camera and say, John Nah, I don't want to miss a kick, but if I do, it's your fault.
Okay. John, I don't want to miss a kick. I'm not planning on it. But if I do, I hope you know it's because of you. It's your fault.
Yes.
Sorry,
Perna's
dude.
like, I'm retiring. I've gotten everything I wanted out of this.
That's
chat.
perfect. Yeah, you're like, we're good now. I'm done. I'm
We're
good.
good.
Now
We're
we'll clip that
packing it
to
up.
him.
But yeah, so next week for our NFL offside, we are having Cam Jordan on and Kirby Joseph, and
Oh,
then
nice.
2 Call of Duty streamers, which will be sick, Aiden and Joe Wu. So we're doing like a first-person shooter themed episode, which will be super fun. So we're doing like boot camp challenges, having a little target practice stuff, and then a Fortnite gaming thing. So for people watching, come stream in. It'll be a pretty funny one. I know Cam Jordan's a pretty energetic dude, so we'll have some fun and make fun of some of these guys.
You know, Cameron, that sounds great, and like I'm glad that like there's stuff outside of football that you can really rely on. So when Kirby Joseph comes on, if you really want to kind of push him to do things outside of football, that would be great. And just really just, like football's not that important, you know.
Dude, football's not that fun, man. I think I'll get him. I'll be like, dude, you could be a great host. You should just look into
or a
hosting.
left guard. I think he could be a great left guard, and if you can give him some pointers, I think it'd be great.
We'll get talking. We'll get some weight put on. Maybe we'll do like an eating contest for him. Try to gain like 20 pounds
Slow
in
him
a
down
day.
a little bit.
That would be. I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll send you the email. I appreciate it. Now, Cameron,
Of course.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
for coming on.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Time. Best of luck with the season, and enjoy the off season besides workouts.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Appreciate
See
you.
ya.
Cameron. You have a great day. All right, Cameron Dicker, ladies and gentlemen, did it.
Great job, everybody.
Perna, you did great,
We did.
and I want
such
you
a
to know
good
that you
job.
impacted me. So
Good.
you did it.
I did it. Well, there we go.
Well, did that. There we go. We're rocking. Look at that. We got guests. We got breaking news.
Breaking news.
What is
big
this?
day.
What
Let's retire.
What is this show?
Let's retire. Jesus.
That's it. Is Fields and first traded for Herbert? Fields, no. I feel like Fields, that's not a proper comp. Because again, Jared Goff still went to the Super Bowl. Justin Fields is
Oh,
not.
right.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Thanks for remembering.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, talk about the curse. No, yeah, you're dead to me now, Brandon. That's changed my life. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
that
When
Literally-
the Packers got the season-long curse again,
what number were we?
8,
I respect it. At least we're 8.
and I randomly drew on all those numbers. They're not even in order. I was going really fast, and then it took a second. I was like, oh, it can't be again. And it was. So we'll see. Maybe double curses, it's an uncurse. Double trouble.
What do you got coming out, Brandon?
I don't know. I'll have something up later today.
That's very fair. Very, very fair. Yeah, I just put out literally as the show went live the reaction for George Pickens and also that trade between the Cowboys and the Steelers. Also, we talked about it earlier in the show. If you just tuned in late, so you can go back and check that out. We talked about it for the first 10 minutes or so. And then later this week, I'm definitely going to have a Packers like post draft. Did the Packers get better? So we're gonna rock out with that probably tomorrow. But Folks, we appreciate the hell out of you watching. We'll see you soon. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS. And you have been navigating.
And
I
you
agree with
reached your destination.
I agree with that. It's okay. We're just going to curse the Broncos now.
I think
go-
purgatory is worse than being cursed.
It might be. It's just like your boiler room. That's where
Yeah.
purgatory actually is, just geographically.
All work and no play.
Makes
the
Tommy a
Packers
dull boy.
dull